mailing lists and contacts and so forth, you can import and export if need be. So to make switching costs less. So that works. And to piggyback on that, when we start talking about Microsoft Office, which 95% of the world is using and so forth, Google Docs, which comes with this, can read Office 2003, Office 2007, PowerPoint, Excel, and Word documents. And there is an argument to be made about using those for official documents because it is a proprietary file format, and there is discussions ongoing about whether governmental agencies should be using those types of documents as official records because of the proprietary nature. It's a whole different discussion, but you have the ability to import and export out of that, so you're covered either way things go. We had quite a few discussions about data analysis and data warehousing. Right near the end of our discussions, the consortium that Jamestown is part of or made the decision that they were going to be going to a new student information system. After reviewing that, I recommended that Jamestown go with that. I think that was the recommendation you were getting from your staff as well. So that took some of the question out of where the capabilities for Jamestown administrators and teachers to begin to continue to analyze student data and to use that as formative assessments to really modify instruction on an ongoing basis. That piece is kind of fitting in now because of the consortium's decision. And I know there's more to come from the state as far as what their services are going to be. Other questions on this? I know it's a lot. I'm trying to hit the highlights. I'm happy to go through everything, but it's quite a bit.
And you talked very quickly.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I appreciate your desire to go through it.
Well, why don't I
I
take
told them
a
that you would be anxious to get to the budget, so not to talk too long. So.
why don't I take a breath and I'll let you guys go.
Keep talking there. Kid.
I've been accused of talking too quickly before.
Under goal 2, what
Yes.
is this is about the website and what is a hosted content management system and what is a freemium CMS provider?
A hosted content management system is different from what you do now. Right now you have a nice website that obviously has a lot of time and love been put into it, but it really is a collection of files and folders. Not unlike the way you would structure your My Documents folder, if you will, if you have a PC. A content management system is a piece of software that provides a foundational layer of structure for a website. So that when you want a new page, you click New Page and it creates a new page for you. When you say, I want to change the background color of the website, you change it in one place.
Is this similar to like Blackboard or WebCT or something like that?
It is similar. Those are more of a content management system. I'm sorry, a course management system, which would be, that a high school could use, but a lot of universities are using. A content management system really it breaks apart a web page into parts. So you have your background part, you have your title part, you have your main content, you have your navigation bar. So if you have just a series of files and folders, if you change the background on one, then you have to go into each of the other pages and change that on all of them. In a content management system, you change the background once and it does it everywhere. As a simple example, if you want to add a new link to the navigation bar, you add it once and it puts it on every page. Now if you have a website that has 1 or 2 or 3 pages, there's a benefit, but it's not the end of the world. But as you start talking about teacher web pages and different project web pages and links and so forth, a content management system makes the management of that much easier, much more straightforward, and then you can focus on the content and what you want to provide to your constituents. The other thing that's nice about it too is you can decentralize the management of that. So if you have a page that talks about your food services, you can give permission to the food services director to maintain that. If you have a section which is the superintendent's notices, then the superintendent can have permission to update his or her, in your case, her section. It allows you to set permissions for different areas. There's not a bottleneck. Now, that's all great in theory. In practice, there really still is a somewhat central person who reviews things and says, okay, it's now winter 2010, we should probably take the 2007 football schedule down. Not that we've ever seen that happen on a school website. But, so it's not a silver bullet, but it helps to decentralize a lot of that.
Does that also include versioning control in terms of checking out documents? And
It does, it does. So you could theoretically have student editors of certain pages, but obviously we can't have students have publishing rights to the full website, but a student could be given editorial rights where they go in and will create something, and then it goes on to have a teacher or administrator review it and publish it, and then it goes live. So it becomes a content management system allows more of that functionality. Now, the freemium model, the reason I put it in there is these content management systems, they have them in generic ones for any business that you might be interested in. They have school-specific ones. They have K-12 specific ones. The example that I put in there that was a recommendation is a group out of California, and they provide what's called a freemium model. If you're not familiar with a freemium model, they give you a little something up front, and you can continue with that all you want, but if you want to unlock the additional features, they start charging you. It's a good way to get up and running. If you like it, then you can unlock it and go, and if you don't like it, you walk away, and all you lost is your time. So it's a good way, a scaffold way to kind of get in and play with it and try it and shop around. But again, there's very little downside should you choose not. There's no monetary downside should you choose to walk away from it. It's just your time. All right, staffing. I'll speed this up a little. Well, I will talk more quickly, but I'll try to keep going so I don't take this whole night. These recommendations are not mutually exclusive per se. If there's not adequate personnel and support and a culture to support this, then a lot of this investment becomes fancy paper rates, and that would be a shame. So one of the reasons I made the recommendation, the staffing recommendations I did, was so that to increase the odds of success. This is really mandatory for success in my opinion. If you don't have full-time support to make sure not only the boxes are plugged in and they can start and they do what they're supposed to do, but also support for staff in the classrooms on how to use these technologies, how to brainstorm unique uses of these, how to handle new changes in technology, which will happen tomorrow and the next day and the next day, then your odds of success will decrease greatly. So I feel very strongly about this. If you're going to take on a technology improvement within your budget, within your overall plans of moving Jamestown schools forward, you need to support it with staff. So my main recommendation was a full-time, and I call it a Director of Educational Technology. Different districts do different names, but someone who wears really two hats. Knows the technology and can keep the lights on, which is critical because that's the first thing that staff's going to say, well, I'd love to use it, but it doesn't work, so I'm not going to do it. So that's job number one. And job number two, be a resource, a classroom resource for staff so that we can scaffold for them and they can feel success and the students can feel success and we can all grow together with this. And also as an information resource and as a creative resource on how the best way is to use this technology with the students to reach our curriculum aims. So, I'll get off my soapbox, sorry. All right, curriculum, we talked about this a little bit. The NETS standard is the ISTE standards for students. It is currently being used by the state of Rhode Island because they've adopted the Learning.com Tech Proficiency Program, which your 8th graders took this year and actually did better than last year, so good for you. What I'm also recommending is there's a second component that would have to be purchased separately, purchased outright because the Rhode Island takes it now, which is their 21st Century Skills Assessment. The assessment you're taking now are basic tech skills, which are important and are kind of the initial bar, and that's all well and good. But this starts to actually get into the area of higher order thinking skills, problem solving, critical thinking using the technology. To me, this is where it's at. What you're doing now is the prereq. Everybody should be there, and if they're not, then we need to fix that. This is really where we're heading when we start talking about students being able to do the abstract cognitive work that are being demanded of workers, employees, and so forth these days. This is an example of a tool that will get you there. I picked their tool because you're familiar with it. There are others, and I'm happy to talk about others as well, but I think that's important. Okay, that was the roller coaster ride through the recommendations. I'm sorry if that was too fast. All right, the next steps really were